Good evening. Welcome to Georgetown County Council meeting. Today is April 11th, 2023. The time is now 5:36 p.m. This meeting of Georgetown County Council is being called to order. I do see we have a quorum present. We're getting started a little late because we had a workshop earlier, but at this time, we're going to ask Councilman Carolina to give us the invocation and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, we come together this day asking for guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Continue to allow us to grow closer as a group in nurturing the bonds of our communities. Guide us with your grace as we make decisions that will affect the citizens, businesses, environment, and the future of Georgetown County. Put within us a revitalized energy of progress as we move forward in 2023. Continue to remind us that all we do as stewards over the land is for the greater glory of you in service of humanity and progress for Georgetown County. Continued peace and blessings to all in our county, state, and country. In your holy name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Carolina. We all have our meeting agenda in front of us. Is there a motion to approve the meeting agenda as published?
So moved.
It's been moved by Councilman Elliott. And is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Carolina. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move down to our special reports and presentation. Our nonprofit spotlight. The Georgetown County and the Francis P. Bunnell Foundation are partnering to spotlight a local nonprofit at each county council meeting. Tonight's spotlight will be on the Children's Trust of South Carolina. We have Ms. Erin Pate will make the presentation.
Good evening, council members. Thank you so much for having me
Good
tonight.
evening.
I have been before this body before to talk about the beautiful Black River Initiative, but I'm not here to do that tonight. Tonight, I come as a board member of the Children's Trust. I was appointed by Governor McMaster to serve and represent Congressional District 7, and I've been on that board for now 7 years. And I'm honored to be here tonight and want to extend a special thank you to the Bunnell Foundation. Kevin McCrae, the grants and data manager, is here from the foundation, and Kevin does a great job for the foundation. We also have one of our grantees, the Children's Recovery Center, that is here. And thank you guys for being here with your pinwheels. Appreciate that. Yes. And thank you, Georgetown County Council, for your leadership in raising awareness of this important issue. Children's Trust is a statewide organization focused on preventing child abuse and neglect in South Carolina. We lead and support a network of agencies like the Children's Recovery Center that share our belief that all children should thrive, live in secure families, and are surrounded by supportive communities. Raising awareness is a critical first step in preventing child abuse and neglect. Every April, Child Abuse Prevention Month, which is we're right in the center of right now, is the annual opportunity for us to join voices, stand together, and show how we are a powerful voice for the children and families in South Carolina. You may have noticed the pinwheels around the community. Hold up some of your pinwheels. These are planted in the ground out in front of probably Children's Recovery Center, I bet you. There you go. And I have pinwheel lapel pins to give you all guys, so I think you'll be receiving those. The pinwheel symbolizes happy, healthy childhoods that we want for every child to experience. However, we know that too many children who are experiencing childhood challenges and trauma. In state fiscal year 2021, there were almost 16,000 children in founded investigations of child maltreatment in South Carolina. Picture this, that number of children could fill 29 elementary schools. In Georgetown County, 147 children were in founded investigations of abuse and neglect that same year. I think we all agree that those numbers are tragic. Children who experience trauma are far more likely to become adults with problems like depression, alcoholism, obesity, heart and liver disease, and decreased work performance, all of which take a heavy toll on South Carolina's future. The Children's Trust was established in 1984 by the state legislature to fund innovative community programs that work to prevent child abuse and neglect and to meet critical needs of children in South Carolina. Along with our network of community-based organizations throughout the state, we work what we call upstream, which means before the crisis of abuse and neglect occurs. We focus on two-generation strategies, working with children and their families to break entrenched cycles of abuse and neglect and bring about lasting change for children and their children. We believe that prevention is the most cost-effective and efficient way to address abuse, and it is the best investment we can make in our future. In Georgetown County, we're piloting a public health approach to prevention with the building of the Positive Parenting Program known as PPP in partnership with Tidelands Health and practitioners throughout the county. And our partners at St. James Santee Family Health Center are actively serving Georgetown County families with home visiting services. We have lots of good things happening for children and families in our community. At Children's Trust, we have a saying that children do well when families are strong, and families are strong when communities support them. I thank you for the opportunity to share just a little bit about Children's Trust of South Carolina. And I thank you guys and lady for being a champion for children during Child Abuse Prevention Month and throughout the year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Page. Are there any comments from council?
Ms. Pate, it's good to see you again. Thank you.
Thank you.
And again, we appreciate all that the Children's Trust is doing in partnership with the Bunnell Foundation, St. James Santee. Continue the excellent work in working and saving children and families here in Georgetown.
Thank you. We move on down to public comments. A public comment period is included on each meeting agenda and shall be limited to 30 minutes. Each speaker will be limited to no more than 3 minutes. No speaker may yield her allotted time to another speaker. Members of the public who wish to address council during the public input period should sign up with the clerk of council before the meeting is called to order. You will notice on the screen there will be a timer which will tell you when your time has expired. We ask you to adhere to that particular timer promptly. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone sign up to this evening?
Mr. Chairman, we do have 2 speakers signed up tonight, and as you stated, each will have up to 3 minutes. Our first speaker tonight is Jennifer Hunt.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Hunt, and I live in Andrews. And I just had a brief meeting with a lady just a few moments ago, and it was I appreciated talking to her, and I understand that your positions, each one of your positions is difficult and probably thankless, and we appreciate that. I made pictures and had them developed, and you should have a copy. Took those pictures of the old school that was partially demolished. That was taken about 2 hours ago. And if you could help us get that taken care of, and also please bring EMS back to Andrews. I understand there's a process. Let us know what that process is. But the last thing I'd like to talk about, Andrews has a nonprofit. It's called Andrews Beautification Group. It is a state registered business, and it has an EIN. And I have applications if someone would like to be a member. We are getting together to help better Andrews. And the last thing I'd like to say is the lady who just spoke. I run Andrews, South Carolina News Facebook page, and I shared the flyer about Triple P, and I will be continuing to get the word out. And if you have anything Andrews related that you would like published, Andrews, South Carolina News Facebook page has 7,200 people. And thank you so much.
Reverend Alfred Darby.
To the members of Georgetown County Council, to my Councilman Lewis Morant, who represents the area my church is in, to my friend and brother Edward Carolina, and to all the other members of Georgetown County Council. I wanted to mention about the need for a stoplight on the County Line Road in Andrews between Georgetown and Williamsburg counties. I appeared before the Williamsburg County Council Monday, and they passed a resolution in support of this light. And I'm asking that the members of Georgetown County Council pass a resolution of support. We realize this is a state matter, but this will encourage our legislative delegation. They talk about their seniority, and I want them to use it and to get a light there. There's a four-way stop sign there, and we need a light. It is dangerous. And many citizens of both Georgetown and Williamsburg County want this light. And the Williamsburg County Council has passed a resolution of support, and I'm asking that the Georgetown County Council do the same. But this is very important, and many of the citizens are for this, and they would like to have it. And it would be helpful to the citizens of both counties that this be done. And we are urging that to be done. Also, I'm a resident of Williamsburg, and pastor in Georgetown, but we still need ER service in the town of Andrews. And maybe there could be some kind of collaborative effort between Andrews and the eastern side of Williamsburg County, which also could use some sort of ambulance service. So maybe there could be some kind of collaboration between the two counties. And so I urge you also on law enforcement that we try to bring more patrols into the rural areas of the county. I know money is tight, but we ask that you do that. Even the patrol cars running through the community will be of encouragement. We know that money is tight, and we understand that. Again, thank you very much.
That is our final speaker.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And thank you both for your comments. And council will take your comments under consideration. We move down to resolutions and proclamations. We have proclamation number 23-07 this evening in recognition of National Child Abuse Prevention Month. I think we just heard from Ms. Pate regarding child abuse and neglect, and we have Ms. Britton here also this evening regarding child abuse and neglect. And what we'll do, we'll read the proclamation. Proclamation number 23-7 is relatively brief, but I think we can read the entire proclamation so that the public can be well aware of the child abuse and neglect situation which is being recognized. Proclamation number 23-07, where South Carolina's 1.1 million children residing in the diverse communities across our state, including in Georgetown County, are a valuable resource and will shape the future of our great state. And whereas childhood trauma, including abuse and neglect, is a serious problem affecting every segment of our community, and finding solutions requires input and action from everyone. And whereas childhood trauma can have long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects that have lasting consequences for victims of abuse. And whereas protective factors are conditions that reduce or eliminate risk and promote the social, emotional, and developmental well-being of children. And whereas effective child abuse prevention activities succeed because of the partnerships created between child welfare professionals, education, health, community, and faith-based organizations, businesses, law enforcement agencies, and families. And whereas communities must make every effort to promote programs and activities that build strong children and families. And whereas we acknowledge that we must work together as a community and partnership to build awareness about child abuse and contribute to promote the social and emotional well-being of children and families in a safe, stable, and nurturing environment. And whereas prevention remains the best defense for our children and families, and whereas in fiscal year 2021-2022, there were 147 children in Georgetown County in substantiated cases of abuse and neglect. Now, therefore, Georgetown County Council in the great state of South Carolina does hereby proclaim April 2023 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Georgetown County, and encourages all South Carolinians to dedicate themselves to protecting the quality of life for all families and children. So shall it be adopted this 11th day of April 2023. And as I stated earlier, I think Ms. Britton is here to receive the proclamation. Oh, let us vote on it first. Let us vote on the motion first, okay? On the proclamation first, thank you. Okay, you have heard the reading of the proclamation number 23-07. Is there a motion pertaining to same?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it is moved for adoption of proclamation number 23-07 by
Anderson.
Councilman Elliott, and it has been seconded by Councilor Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion carries. Now we present the proclamation to Mrs.
Why I don't like big chairman.
Ma'am.
Well, no, come back.
Thank you all again for all you do for the eradication of child abuse and neglect within South Carolina and the county of Georgetown. We move on down to third reading of ordinances. Ordinance number 23-11, an ordinance to amend Appendix C, Stormwater Management and Flood Drainage Prevention, Part 2, Flood Drainage Prevention Ordinance of Georgetown County, South Carolina Code of Ordinances. We'll have,
Matt Millwood.
okay, to present. Thank you, Matt.
So, yeah, this is to amend our flood damage prevention ordinance. Goes along with the next item, which is the flood maps and the flood insurance study. We discussed this in detail last council meeting. A couple things to note: the flood ordinance is a prerequisite of participating in the National Flood Insurance Program. Also, adopting the flood insurance study, and the firms are also involved with that. Let's see here. The county floodplain ordinance must meet the minimum standards of state and federal regulations. Also, after we revised this ordinance, we did send it up to the state SCDNR as well as FEMA for their review, and they have looked it over and approved our changes. I believe there was an attachment for a checklist from the state that shows that we did meet all their requirements with the changes we made in this ordinance. I believe also in your packet, there is a red line version of the ordinance, so you can see what sections were indeed changed and what was being amended as part of this ordinance. And I will try to answer any questions you have further on this, as well as our building official, Mr. Elliott. Steve Elliott's here as well.
Thank you, Matt. Are there any questions from council pertaining to ordinance number 2311?
Yes, Matt, two questions. Number one, could you explain the fill and bill method and how that pours into this scenario? And do we currently have a ban against the construction of slab-built developments in areas that are prone to flooding? How do we handle that situation with this, with ordinance 2311 and 2312? Is it strong enough? And do we currently have within these ordinances a ban against building slab-built houses in low or flood-prone areas?
It depends on the flood zone. And for the actual building code regulations, I'll let Stephen speak to that. But this ordinance meets the minimum standards. We are not going above and beyond with restrictive standards in this ordinance. We're basically keeping everything as minimum as we can. That way, anyone can build at a level that is cost reliant, if you will. So we don't require people to go above and beyond. Like if we had freeboards that were 3 feet, it would cost them more to build up. Now, the difference in the flood zones, you had spoken, there was a couple questions there, and I'm trying to answer them in a row here. Building in an A zone versus a V zone. In an A zone, you can use fill. You can use fill to build up your property and make, build a foundation, slab on grade foundation. You cannot do that in a V zone, which is a velocity zone, which is on the coast. As far as built slab on grade houses, we don't have any restrictions against, anywhere in the county other than flood zones for building those. And I don't know if I answered all your questions there. Stephen, did you?
Okay, thank you.
The,
And so in the future, of course, it's a cost factor for any sort of elevation, filling in, coming up to the, quote, sea level, and then coming up with a slab over. So again, we're not trying to restrict development and building because of a cost factor. It would be costlier going up the elevation.
Correct. So this ordinance is trying to keep, as I said, minimum standards for cost effectiveness in building and development.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have just a couple questions.
Sure.
Matt, thank you for coming. Following up with Councilman Carolina's questions, the new flood areas, and I was trying to find a map, I couldn't find it, that comes up across the Intercoastal Waterway up into Yalhanna, back near the Rose Hill area. I forget the zone that was, Stephen might recall.
Probably unnumbered A.
But back to Councilman Carolina's question, those were new flood zone areas that weren't before, but are now. Are they prohibited from slab or from slab construction?
They could be, depending on the flood zone that they fall in now and the elevation of land. They might be able to bring in a foot or two of fill and still build.
And that's where the survey would come in at the beginning, that is a cost to this
That's
when you
correct.
wanted to build, right?
Yeah, so anybody in a flood zone that would like to build, we automatically require them to get an elevation certificate.
Yeah.
So there's some upfront costs, but that's with any development.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Matt.
And man, I guess just to emphasize again, these are federal requirements in order for us to remain a part of the FEMA program, is that correct?
That is correct, Mr. Chairman.
So council really doesn't have a whole lot of choice if we want to remain a part of that insurance program.
Not much choice. It's kind of the hierarchy system. It comes down from the federal to the state to county.
We have a choice, and it's bad and badder.
Yeah.
Okay. Any further questions for Matt? If not, is there a motion pertaining to ordinance number 23-11?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we approve ordinance number 23-11.
Okay, you have a motion for approval from Councilman Newton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second for Councilman Carolina. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. We'll go down to ordinance number 23-12. Matt?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. This goes along with amending the flood ordinance for the county. This is where we actually adopt the flood insurance study and the flood insurance rate maps that have been provided to us from the state. So they are basically federally funded and state-funded maps that are now updated. The last time that we've had, we've had a bunch of map revisions since 2015, but we've not adopted maps since pre-Hugo March of 1989. So this has been a long time coming. While this does fix some issues, it causes some issues. I'll be honest with you there. But they are the official maps that are coming down from above, and we are required, if we would like to stay a part of the National Flood Insurance Program, required to adopt these maps on or before May 9th, 2023.
Thank you, Matt. Any questions for Matt from council? Okay. Is there a motion pertaining to ordinance number 23? -12?
So moved.
It's been moved by Councilman Elliott for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Carolina. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion carries. We'll go down to, thanks, Matt. We'll go down to first reading of ordinances. The ordinance will be read into the record by title only. Ordinance number 23-13, an ordinance to amend the Georgetown County Land Development Regulations, Article 1, Section 17, Article 2, Section 4, Article 6, Definitions, and Appendix B, to amend the text of plating actions for a family subdivision. We'll have the approval of our minutes from our regular council meeting on March 28th, 2023. Is there a motion pertaining to those regular council meetings?
So moved.
It's moved by Councilman Newton for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Elliott. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion carries. We will now move on down to legal briefing in our executive session. We are be going to executive session briefing regarding any economic development matter pursuant to SC Code annotated section 30-470A5. Is there a motion to move into executive session?
So moved.
Moved by Councilor Johnson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Carolina. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Thank you. We are now into executive session. We are back from executive session. Is there a motion to return to open session? Moved by Councilman Elliott. Is there a second? Second by Councilor Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor of returning back to open session, please raise your hand. Opposed? Okay. Motion carries. We are now back into open session. Please note that we entered into executive session to receive briefing regarding an economic development matter pursuant to SC Code annotated section 30-4-70A5. And during the time we were in executive session, no votes were taken. Is there any further business to come before council this evening?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I hereby move to authorize the county administrator, Director of Economic Development, County Attorney, and Chairman of the County Council, as may be necessary, to pursue economic development incentives and structure for the economic development project known as Project Hooper, as outlined in Economic Development Director's briefing of April 11th, and to negotiate such terms and take such actions and execute such documents as may be necessary in furtherance of Project Hooper prior to the execution of the final contract, if any.
You have heard the motion by Councilman Newton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Elliott. Any discussion regarding the motion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion carries. Is there any further business coming before council? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
It's moved by Councilman Carolina for the adjournment. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Elliott. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, we now stand adjourned. Thank you all.